Hello, good afternoon for everyone on the call. We have today's 2020 Insight Foundation webinar for Shopware users, or also known under the pattern systems users, whoever uses this type of software. So it's a kind of an internal call where we reached out to you guys to show you what we can offer to you in respect of an upgrade to the 2020 Insight Foundation solution. One thing, the whole webinar is kind of muted for you guys, but you have the chance using the chat window to submit questions. And at the end of the presentation, you will have a chance submitting these questions or during the webinar, and I will try as best as I can answer all of the questions if questions are coming up. So for this one, let's get started. So my name is Jörg Brauns. I'm with the 2020 manufacturing team here, responsible for North America. And everything else probably you've seen in the invites already about me. I've done a lot of implementations, everything in the woodworking industry, and I'm happy and pleased that I can show you today the presentation and the ideas of what we're doing with the 2020 Insight Foundation solution. So basically, what are the challenges in our woodworking industry? And this is not just in North America, that's basically all over the world. We have two different kind of areas, one directly on the manufacturing side, and then another one where we face it very often, where the manufacturer communicates with the sales department and the dealers or the builders. And the challenges, particular between dealers and manufacturers or anyone on the point of sales channel and the manufacturer, is that not all the orders are coming in accuracy. Sometimes we have dimensional issues, we have specials which we need to manage, and these kind of back and forth really leads to longer lead time. And what I want to do is, before I jump into this presentation of the Insight solution later on, just going through these challenges here for a minute. Another one is really that we have barriers between those kind of information. Sales often doesn't know on where the jobs are, so that relates to communication issues within the company. There's no visibility, and what would be very helpful if somebody in sales could see right away where the jobs are. Another one is definitely that the time to market for new product development takes a very long time. Within the manufacturing facility, what we see very often when we get into companies is that not just one piece of software is there or one area where data are stored. There are multiple. That leads from legacy system to different kind of software available on the market, Excel files. But the end result is really there are a lot of redundancy of data within one company. And often also that these data are not talking to each other. So there are tons of interfaces. When one software site gets updated, you cannot update the other one anymore because you break the link in between, and so on. Very often, as I mentioned, is the visibility within the company, which is not very good. As I said, order entry doesn't know what's going on in the shop. Like customer service, they don't see what's going on. But also, sometimes people within the shop, they don't know what's going on the shop floor side, particularly at the back end from a shipping point of view, or even when it comes to do I have enough installers available to install my kitchens later on. And so all of this one, we're trying to break this barrier within these departments. And probably for all of you on the call here, what we also see is the moment a special comes into place, like a dealer or builder needs a special, it's almost sometimes a nightmare going through this process of handling the specials as it would be a standard cabinet within the system. So easy said, but most companies, let's face the reality, just buying a piece of software and implementing it, it's very difficult, right? People are limited with their resources. And when we go out there and look for software, then there's probably a lot of software available in the market, but none of this one which fits perfectly the woodworking industry. And we don't want to customize the heck out of the software. From a point of when you get to and make the decision to go with software, then we see often and get the feedback from customers or from the market that, well, when I implement a new system, it's very expensive. As I said, I don't have resources to implement this one. And I've heard that it takes very long to implement it. And how long does it take really at the end of the day until I can really turn off my old system and restart the new one? So we thought about all of these processes, and what we did is basically we bundled up our entire ERP solution to an affordable, quick implementation solution, which looks like this. So we call it the Connected Factory. And what it really does is, starting from the left side, moving to the right side of the slide, is we have these catalogs available basically based on engineering data which the manufacturer provides. We can add easily specials to these catalogs so that the dealer builder can use them. Those information get entered by the point of sale. And then when we move forward, we can see to the right side, we can see that everything the dealer does basically, or / builder or architect, whatever kind of business you guys are in, we see that seamlessly we are importing those information into 2020 Insight, which is basically the right gray block. From there, just through a status change, we generate bill of materials, we get the costing information, we have the possibility of scheduling everything, managing the shop floor side, through scanning and so on. Inventory gets updated right away through scanning. We control the entire shipping process. We control the installation, and everything else within the system can be seen on mobile apps. So this is a high-level overview, but how does it really work in detail? So over the next few slides, I want to get you a little bit more the input on step-by-step on how this runs through our system. As I said, on the one side, we have the dealer, builder, architect who can enter an order into the system. On the point of sale side, we are then on the manufacturing side. We can obviously manually enter this order, but why should we enter it manually when we have the possibility of importing it? So we're importing the order directly one-to-one from the dealer. We do validation checks in Insight, and if certain things are not accurate, we can automatically send information back to the dealer without even human interference, so that the dealer can see right away what's wrong. For an example, the door style is missing, species is missing, or dimensions are missing, or anything else. So through this validation check, we make sure that we get a clean order later on into the system. Once we have the order in Insight, through a regular status change, we can move it forward. And the nice one in Insight is we have a workflow tool built into the software, which allows you, as a customer of us, to configure your business processes. So that means you can use the standard functionality of the software to make basically the software your own. And for us, that is very important. We want to make sure that you don't customize the heck out of the software. We want that you configure it, because customization leads at the end of the day really to a point where you're unable to upgrade to another version. And in 2020, we are releasing every 3 months another version with new functionalities, new enhancements, and so on, which you want to benefit from. So how does it work, these workflow tools? For an example, some companies, what they like to do, an order comes in as a quote, we do a status change of the order, just one click. Now Insight checks automatically in the financial system what the open ARs are for that customer. They compare it with the credit limit assigned to the customer, and if okay, we can move the order forward. If not okay, we move it to status on hold, and an email notification will be sent to the accounting department. And then the accounting department can decide if they want to move it forward, call the customer, and so on. Other informations are, if a special is, for an example, flagged, then we move this order forward, but automatically we also send an email notification to the engineering team. And the engineering team knows right away, oops, there's order 123, line number 5, I have to work on this one, and that integrates that the entire order, including the specials, run through the system seamlessly. So, particular for you guys from a shop floor side, from a Shopware side coming, or pattern systems, what we wanted to do is show you on how we help you with an implementation of Insight. We know that the heart of your system is really the bill of material. It takes a long time to set up all these product codes, the configuration, the bill of material, to get also the final CNC code out of this one. Obviously, in the Insight solution, we have also a tool which is based on AutoCAD, which allows us also to add drawings, which we can release into the shop or to vendors if required, and we control through the routings the process on how individual parts running through the system. But the idea is really to get a quick implementation with Shopware customers / pattern systems customers that orders are created in Insight, we do a status change, the system generates a bill of material, and then what we do is we basically utilize the data you have in pattern systems / Shopware today to get the bill of material information and the CNC code out of this one. Now, if you want, parallel, you can do through the implementation, move your data to our engineering tool, and then we can slowly transition from Shopware pattern systems into 2020 Construct. But that leads to a very quick implementation, with a very fast return of investment. So once we have all the components, all the raw materials which we need for this job, we can start scheduling. And these are just a couple of scenarios here on how we can schedule. On one side, you can create shipments when you are, for an example, located on the east side, but you have customers on the west coast side, and you want to have every Friday night a truck leaving your facility to all of these west coast customers. So you can move all of these jobs together into the trailer. It tells you by weight and volume how full you can load the trailer. And then basically you release that kind of shipment into the shop, and based on the load date with a backward schedule, Insight will tell you exactly when you need to start, when certain parts need to be completed in certain work centers, and so on. The other one is you can do this job by job, and you can create production batches, but you can also go ahead and merge multiple jobs together for better optimization at the panel saw or laser-based router, for an example. So before we release then the information as work orders into the shop, we know exactly for these kind of jobs which you want to release, do we have enough inventory in stock? If not, then the system will automatically make a suggestion for the buyer to create purchase orders. So purchase orders can be created, and suggestions can be created based on either min-max or reorder point, or based on historical data. For an example, certain materials are set up in a way like, look, 6 months in the past, what was my average consumption of this kind of material, and Insight should make a suggestion what we need for the next 3 months. Once the system has created the suggestion for the buyer can easily turn this into a PO, send it to the vendor, and then once the material comes in, we receive it, we get the invoice from the vendor, and then we do a so-called three-way match, where we take the invoice with the PO and the receipt from the vendor, and then if everything is okay, accumulated by general ledger, we send those information over to the AP side of the financial system. So let's assume we have enough material, work orders are created, the system will now automatically release everything into the shop, and based on my schedule, I can see what's the capacity, what I have available in certain work centers. If one machine, for an example, breaks down and I can move these components maybe to another machine, I can easily, by dragging and dropping those work orders into the other machine center, and the system will recalculate the new CNC code for that machine because the new machine has maybe different tool setup and so on. But mainly the routings are there for guiding the individual parts through the shop. The other one the routings do is it will tell me what my labor cost is. And based on the labor cost plus the raw materials which I consume for these jobs, which is my material cost, I know what my overall cost is, at least the scheduled cost. Once I continue and scan throughout the shop, then I would see that maybe I have some rework to do in some areas. I need additional material. I add labor to it, and we capture the actual cost so that I can see when I'm done with my entire job, what's really my profit margin at the end of the day, my actual profit margin. So we are integrating with panel saws, optimizers, nested-based routers, and point-to-point machines. And again, at this point in time, when we transition from Shopware pattern systems, then we can utilize what you already have in your system. And no need to recreate everything. So the last stage here is really, once it comes off the assembly line, create a little ticket for the shipper, that once I load the truck, I can scan everything. The system recognizes what's been loaded into the truck. We get the shipping manifest. We can automatically send an invoice to the vendor, to the customer, and then accumulated by general ledger, we will send the invoice information to the AR side on the financial system. Now, obviously, the last step is as well that I need to schedule my service and installation team. So teams who install really, maybe a supervisor who comes later, checks everything. I have the possibilities on site through the mobile apps, see my calendar as an installer. I can take pictures and submit them, and they get automatically submitted to the SQL database in Insight. The other one is I can flag, for an example, a door which is broken or scratched, and then this door the installer can automatically create a rework order in the system from his mobile app, goes directly into the SQL database back, so that you on the manufacturing side know exactly, I quickly have to create or build this, or not so quickly building a door, right? Just particular when you buy them, but at least you the system keeps track about it, what you need to do next in order to complete this entire job. Now here you see one more time the entire flow, all the way from the left side, the communication, dealer, manufacturer, how it runs all the way through the system. So the end result is basically, with the system which we have in place, and also with the service team which we have in place, everyone has really a woodworking degree. We can almost guarantee a very fast return of investment based on we can utilize what you already have in your system, do a little bit more data setup, and then get a quick return of investment on the first phase of the implementation by utilizing what you already have. Another one is we will achieve better communication between the departments, internal departments, as I mentioned before. There are no barrier anymore in between. Everyone sees what everyone else sees. But we also improve the communication between the point of sale side and the manufacturer. And last but not least, since we are able to decrease the lead time, just think about it. What about if you would be able to generate your entire annual revenue in 10 months, then in 12 months, with 2 more months where you can generate more sales volume. Throughout the tool, which we are providing to you, it's very easy because all parametric and integrated, and you don't have any redundancy of data in there. It's a quicker time to market, what we call it. So if you need to create new product lines, that's very quickly to be done within the system. The reduction of the production cost leads mainly in there because we can track all the rework. So when we scan certain work, certain work within the shop, you can either complete work orders in there, or you can scan them as rework. And as I said, it's not just that we're adding to new material and labor additional costs that we get the actual cost, but it's also the system gives us statistics in which kind of area do I have very often rework, and then I can see these and point to it, and then either train the workers in this area, or if it's a machine, maybe adjust the machine. And the last but not least, you're really getting more flexible with this solution. So as I said in the beginning, 2020 Insight Foundation is basically an offered solution of the full 2020 Insight ERP solution. So that means we have the possibility to upgrade you to the latest version. It's exactly the same like the full Insight version. It's just an easier entry level getting into this market and being fully on one system. But the moment your business grows, the system is scalable and can grow with you. I would like to thank everyone joining us at today's webinar and wish you a great day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.